All right, let's talk about something that is, for real, one of the most frustrating feelings on the planet. You have these huge, amazing goals for your life, but when it's actually time to do the work, crickets. Nothing. Well, this is the playbook for finally breaking that cycle.
Does this sound familiar? You know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You tell yourself, okay, for real, I'll do it tomorrow. But then tomorrow somehow becomes next week, and then next month. You want all these incredible things, but just getting started feels like trying to push a car uphill.
I mean, this is the daily battle, isn't it? Over here in this corner, you've got your ambitions, get in shape, launch that side hustle, crush your exams, and in the other corner, you have, well, reality. Scrolling TikTok for hours, binge watching another series, or just kind of staring at the ceiling. And that gap between the two, that's where the guilt lives. That's what makes you feel so stuck.
But here's the thing, and I really want this to sink in. This isn't happening because you're a lazy person or because you're broken. That feeling isn't a character flaw. It's a pattern. And it's a pattern that comes from the way our brains are literally wired to take the path of least resistance.
So, if we want to break that pattern, we first have to understand the force that's keeping us pinned down. And you know what? Physics actually has the perfect word for it: inertia.
Yeah, this isn't just for science class. Newton's first law of motion is basically the law of procrastination. An object at rest is going to stay at rest. And a task on your to-do list, it's going to stay at rest too, unless you give it a big enough push to overcome that initial resistance.
And that's the whole game right there. When a task seems too big or too overwhelming, the inertia is just way too strong. Your brain looks at it, says, no thanks, that looks hard. And immediately you're reaching for your phone. So the problem isn't you, it's the inertia of the task.
Okay, so if inertia is the enemy, what's that external force that finally gets us moving? Well, it all starts with a really powerful internal shift. It starts with making a decision.
This is such a powerful way to think about it. As Natalie Dawson points out, the word decision literally comes from a Latin word that means to cut off. When you make a true decision, you are cutting off the old version of yourself. You're not just hoping to change, you're deciding that old person just doesn't exist anymore.
And this happens right now. The second you truly decide, I'm a person who works out, the old you is gone. You have to start making choices from the perspective of that new person, because that's who you are now. And a huge part of this is just changing how you talk to yourself. According to The Angry Explainer, phrases like, I'll start tomorrow, are basically loser talk. It just reinforces the identity you're trying to escape. You don't need these weak promises. You need a full identity upgrade. Instead, you just start acting like the person you want to be. Even if it feels fake at first, you start telling yourself, I'm the kind of person who shows up. Your brain, believe it or not, doesn't really know the difference between what's real and what you just repeat to it over and over again.
Okay, so we've got the mindset on lock. Now for the practical stuff. How do you actually apply that external force to smash your brain's inertia on a daily basis?
Here's your toolkit. You got the 2-minute rule. Whatever the task is, just do it for 2 minutes. Psychologically, it's so easy, your brain can't argue. Then there's Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. Count down from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you physically move. It's a trick to outsmart the excuse-making part of your brain. And finally, my favorite, make the first step stupidly easy. Don't think about writing your essay. Just think about opening the document and typing the title. You see the common thread here, right? It's all about lowering the barrier to entry. You're making that first push to overcome inertia so tiny, so ridiculously effortless that your brain doesn't even have time to come up with an excuse. You're basically tricking it into getting started. And this quote from Martin Luther King just says it all. Stop staring at the entire mountain you have to climb. Forget about it. Just focus on that very first tiny step. Because once an object is in motion, it tends to stay in motion.
And that's the key, right? Getting started is one thing, but how do you build that unstoppable momentum day after day? Well, you don't do it with willpower. You do it with systems. So here it is, a 4-part system for building momentum. First, create easy routines to put your habits on autopilot. Second, use a minimum effort rule, so even on your absolute worst days, you still do something. Third, and we're going to dive into this one, you have to engineer your environment. And fourth, track what matters, because seeing your progress is the fuel that keeps you going. Let's really focus on this idea of engineering your environment, because it's a game changer. If you can't focus at home, get out.
Go to a library, a coffee shop, whatever. Put your workout clothes right next to your bed so it's the first thing you see in the morning. Put screen time limits on your distracting apps. Make your physical and even your social space support the new you.
Now, I want to end with a pretty challenging idea. And yeah, it's a little meta. If you just watch a bunch of explainers like this one, and then you don't actually do anything, you haven't been productive. You've just found a new form of entertainment that feels like learning. You get that little hit of, oh, I'm learning something, I'm making progress, but you're not. You're still at rest. So you have to pair the learning with the doing. You have to actually implement it.
So, let's do that right now. Seriously, don't just close this and scroll to the next thing. Think of one goal you have. What is the absolute tiniest first step you can take? What is one thing you can do for just 2 minutes right now to break inertia and start becoming the person you know you can be?